Hey guys, I want to make a video about a prediction that I have, and I've been pretty accurate with all my predictions now with print on demand, where it's going in the next few years. And when I say the next few years, I really want to look at a 5-year spectrum, maybe even a little bit less, or a little bit shorter, but 5 years is about where it's going to go in my mind. I see Etsy right now at the pinnacle of where it's going to be. I don't think it's going to get any better. I'm going to state this right here, right now, is first of all, I am a seller on Etsy. It's definitely not my bread and butter. It's not something that I go hard on. We generate about anywhere from the low 2K to 3K on my highest income generating store on Etsy. So it's nothing crazy by any means. There are people making 50, 60K a month on Etsy. Hell, people even making 10K a month. I don't see Etsy actually progressing past this point. I think this is literally the pinnacle of where it starts. And I say that to say, and I know people might ask why, is because I could see where this is going, and I've seen this before. History repeats itself. And really, I think people should start thinking about this now. And maybe even if I still keep doing YouTube 3 years from now, 5 years from now, I will say, literally, I've told you so, or I've called this, is because Etsy is not going to be in a better position than where it was. It's struggling from both ends of the candle right now, and I'll explain. Etsy has recently implemented these fees, right? You guys know the $10 fee to open up the account, etc. What they state is it's for identification purposes. Like people want to make sure that they're identifying you properly to sign up. Now, that could or could not be true. It probably has some truth to it, but there's always underlying reasons why. They're not going to come out and tell you, hey, we want to make a little bit extra money per person. They're not going to say that. Now, $15 to you or me is really not that much. It's not that much to open up a store. Let's be honest, right? If I was going to join a platform and I knew that I was going to make money off of it, for me, $15 would be nothing, and it would be nothing for you too. You would do the same. You would pay the $15, you would sign up, it wouldn't be a big deal. But at the same time, you have to look at their behavior, right? You have to look at their actions. About a month ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, something like that, they've opened up a China Pay, right? So they're accepting, Chinese people to, receive payments in China. You have to ask yourself once again, why? Why are they making it easier for sellers in China to grow their business? Now, there have been sellers in China that have been selling previously on Etsy, but they've had to jump through different hoops to be able to do that effectively. But once again, you have to ask why. Why are they making it easier for Chinese sellers to sell on Etsy? They're basically opening the doors to these Chinese sellers. Some people say that this is the death of Etsy. Some people say this is not a big deal. What really makes it a problem is because you have to look at where they're going. Etsy is a platform that has charged people a fee to list every product, right? Not every product. Obviously, they have their little bonus, like you can upload it for free in the beginning, all that kind of stuff. But essentially, they charge fees when you make sales. Put it that way, right? The longer you're on the account, the more money they make. And they are the middleman. They're the ones who take a sliver of the cut. But for the most part, they're doing all of the work in terms of fulfilling the connection between the seller and the buyer. Now, this causes an inherent problem. The problem is that Etsy has fees to make that happen. It has astronomical ad fees. And they're paying for ads on Google. They're paying for ads on these platforms, retargeting ads, things like that, but also server cost fees. Now, if you look at Etsy as a platform, the fact that they're opening up their doors and they're yet charging people to sell on the platform means, like I said, it's almost an oxymoron. It's burning the candle at both ends. They need more sellers to generate more profit. And when I say they need more sellers, they don't really need more sellers, they need more sales. And the current state of the sellers that exist are just not generating enough because there's not enough diversity on the platform. And yes, I've said it, there's not enough diversity. Some people think there is, there isn't. And secondly, they also need to generate more income. See, if they wanted to be able to verify that you are the person that you are, they could easily, through API, just connect to a company that does identity verification. They could easily do that. For example, when I want to connect my passport or my ID to an online app, I'll take a picture of my face, and then they'll turn on like my live webcam, and then I'll like turn my face to the left, turn my face to the right, take a picture of my ID, the front and the back, and they know exactly who I am. They've identified my they verified my identity. I'll give them my social security number, etc. These apps exist. If they wanted to solely just verify who you are, well, they could do that. It doesn't really cost them that much money. But it's not about verification, once again. And the $15 fee really shows that. Also, not to mention, if you guys remember, maybe a year ago, maybe less, I don't know, a little more, I can't remember exactly the dates, but Etsy increased their fees as well. And there was an uprising for about 3 days, 4 days, everybody calling out Etsy because they're greedy and they want to make money off of people, right? And then it just dissipated because once again, people are using Etsy, a lot of people are especially, depending on the platform. Now, why does this matter? Why does this all matter to you? Well, if you sell on Etsy, this is becoming a problem. There's something we know, and once again, history repeats itself. We've seen this happen to Amazon, and for those who don't know what I'm talking about, let me enlighten you. Many years ago, I used to sell on Amazon FBA, and I essentially existed on the Amazon FBA platform 2 years prior to gating. So I've seen the influx of Amazon sellers, and I was really I started before the whole where it really started to blow up. And this was over 8 years ago, okay? And when I was selling on Amazon towards the end of my little stint, they introduced something called gating. And gating was an ability for certain companies to control what is being sold. Because what happens is you have Amazon FBA arbitrage, where people, and it doesn't even have to be FBA, but they have arbitrage, whereas people will go out to certain stores, buy certain products, and sell that product under the name brand for a cheaper price. So for example, if I go to a store and I find a pair of Nikes, I take those Nikes, I post them up on Amazon, I charge $70 less than what they're actually being sold for, I get the quick sale, I make a profit onto the next one. And I might buy 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 products, right? And there's like this Amazon app that where you could scan things and it will show what the price is of the product, etc. But what happened was, right, there was a huge group of people behind the scenes that were creating fakes, replica products, right? And it wasn't just Nike, it was Apple that was dealing with this. There were so many other companies that were dealing with this. And what Amazon started to do is they started to allow brands to be able to gate their products. And they actually started to introduce gating for certain categories. So if you sold, for example, lotion, well, nope, now you're gated. You have to be able to be ungated to sell in that category. You would have to, show things for like invoices from manufacturers. Manufacturers would have to show different ingredients. There would be a burden of proof behind things. Now, this only existed until the world kind of opened up for Chinese sellers to sell on Amazon. And it's not that it opened up. It was never closed off to begin with. And that's something that it was a fire that Amazon had to essentially put out. And that's why they started to introduce more stringent tactics. And once again, history repeats itself. Things don't really change. Amazon is now the strictest it's ever been to acquire an account. You have to do you could do an interview. You have to upload utility bills. You have to verify who you are before signing up for Amazon. They require a lot of things. You can't have two accounts. If you have two accounts, they'll literally freeze your other account and they'll require you to show proof that you're operating business on one account, not the other. It becomes tedious to kind of game the system. Etsy in this case, right? Why do I even mention Amazon? Is because Etsy is going to run into this problem. Because they need to make more revenue, What they're doing is they're opening their doors and making it more simple for people outside of first world countries to be able to sell. All right. Now, why is that a problem? It's not like I'm some sort of racist. Why is that a problem? I have nothing against third world or second world countries. Why is this a problem? It becomes a problem when these people have the ability to sell replica fake items. Your products are going to be ripped off. Yes, you. If you're listening to this and you sell on Etsy, yes, your products, maybe your print-on-demand designs, whatever it is, they're going to look for products that is selling. This has only been the first month. Give it 5 years. Watch what happens. You're going to have your products stolen from you right under you. It's not going to be an American business anymore. You're not going to be able to provide your products at the price that you're going to provide it at. You're going to have to compete with Chinese sellers. These sellers are going to, over time, be able to charge less and less and less. And Etsy effectively will be a hybrid between Temu, AliExpress, and all these different apps that are predominantly Chinese sellers. Now, some people will say, oh, that's not going to happen. Believe me, Etsy puts their money first. And where would Etsy go if they did this? Let's just say Etsy became, AliExpress 2.0. What would happen in this case if you had hordes of Chinese sellers selling their merch or whatever they're selling on Etsy? What would happen here? Well, Etsy would make a lot more money, right? Because they're expanding their marketplace, which is exactly what they want to do. They want to make more money, but they don't want to make more. They don't want to open up the ability for more sellers at the expense of themselves. Because remember, what's the expense? The higher advertising costs and the server costs. It would cost them more to implement restrictive features on the platform at this point than to just open up a certain marketplace. If they wanted to introduce, let's just say, a new feature that restricts certain sellers or holds back certain people from creating a whole bunch of listings or whatever, it wouldn't cost them as much. They could implement it, but they're focused on a profit management cycle. What they're working on is having more sellers come in, right? And these more sellers come in kind of almost are required, or they have the burden to generate more sales for the platform. This is why a lot of people who are creating accounts are getting automatically blocked. They're creating systems literally in their app to be able to remove people before they even start selling. This should indicate something for you. This should give you a little light bulb. This should basically say, hey, we want more sellers that can make money. We don't want sellers that we think won't make money. Now, obviously, that's obvious. Every platform is like that. If I asked the Redbubble CEO secretly, right, and I said, hey, if I was to give you 1,000 new sellers on the platform that will each generate $250,000 in sales, would you accept them? They would say, of course, because those sellers would lead the platform and they would pretty much cover all the fees for the next million sellers on the platform who aren't selling. But once again, if you look at what Etsy is going through, is they're becoming more strict on one side and allowing less people to freely join the marketplace, and yet they're opening their doors to new groups of sellers. What that should indicate to you is that they need money, but they don't have the ability to expend more resources to acquire it, which means the platform is going to get more strict on regular sellers like me and you. You're at a higher risk of getting blocked and removed from the platform or getting banned from the platform or getting your store deleted. But more importantly, even if you don't, your store is going to become diluted with more competition, tremendous amounts of competition, and the competition is not going to be a competitive edge that you can compete on. You're not going to have a competitive edge. One of the things that makes you unique as an Etsy seller is you're going to have some sort of competitive edge based on how different your product is. For example, not everybody can come out with an exact same product or something, similar to this product right here, because it takes time, care, effort, right, to produce this product. That's what makes Etsy what it is. It's this platform where you can create handmade products and sell them to the world. Well, when these Chinese sellers come and flood the market, right, they're going to be able to fulfill the products and the orders of many people. But here's the thing. Once again, you're going to be diluted over time. So let's say you make 5, 6, 7 grand right now on Etsy every single month, and it's your day-to-day job. 4 years from now, you might be lucky if you're pulling in $500, $600. And that's where it's going to happen. So why am I making this video? Well, 2 things. First of all, if somebody from Etsy is watching this, take the Society 6 model, in my opinion. This is my perfect opinion, not perfect, my imperfect opinion, just my opinion. Society 6 is a platform where sellers go online, upload their designs, and Society 6 has 2 main barriers. The first barrier is the tier system. Sellers can't upload more than a certain amount of designs for free. They just can't. Anything past 10, they can't do it. So if they want 11 or 12 or 100, they have to pay for a plan that allows them to do that. That's the first thing. And the second thing is shadow ban certain designs, shadow ban certain products. If products don't seem handmade or customized or unique, they should be shadow banned on Etsy, in my opinion. It will reduce spam, right? It will clean the platform up, or maybe even give warnings to sellers. Sellers that have consistently low ratings, maybe they've had a history of scamming customers or shorting customers for whatever reason, should be removed from the platform. Certain things like that, I think, would drastically improve the platform, but that's not going to happen because those solutions that I'm talking about cost more to fix in the short term than in the long term. And Etsy is not willing to spend the money in the short term to get the job done. They're not going to. And so you can mark this in your calendar that this is the beginning of the end for Etsy, in my opinion. And right now we're in 2024. It's May 14th, 10:58 p.m. I said it here first. This is the beginning of the end for Etsy. It's not just because of Chinese sellers. A lot of people don't understand this. It's not just because of that. It's the behavior that Etsy is approaching. They're burning the candle on both ends. And I actually called this out with Redbubble before this even started. I said this years ago. I said this probably in 2019 about Redbubble. I said, Redbubble is a platform that is allowing too much spam, too much garbage to be uploaded. And eventually there's going to come a time where they're just simply going to do something and the innocents are going to have to pay for it, which is exactly what happens on Redbubble. There's a lot of people who have innocent accounts who get cheated, they get copycatted, they get their accounts deleted. And now a lot of people have kind of been filtered into this tier where they're getting a lot of fees taken. Now, I am a seller on Redbubble. I make a lot of money on Redbubble. I'm not going to just walk away with it, walk away from it. That would be, illogical to do so. And I really wouldn't walk away from any platform. But really, this is more of a call to action to everybody who's listening who sells on Etsy. Is first off, be aware. Be aware that the landscape 4 or 5 years from now is not going to get better on Etsy than it is now. You're looking at pretty much the best time at Etsy right here, right now. This is not going to get any better than it is now, okay? Every month into the future is going to get only worse. If you think that it's going to get better, just look at their behaviors. You can analyze their behaviors, not what they say, but how they behave. It doesn't make sense. A company is coming out and saying that they want to verify people's identity, therefore they're going to charge you a $15 fee to verify your identity. They could have verified your identity with a 1 penny fee. They didn't have to verify your identity with a $15 fee. So why is it $15? Think about that. There's a lot of different things associated with this, but this comes back to the main message that I've always provided for you guys, which is diversify. Diversify more than ever. And I'm going to jump into the whiteboard here because I do want to share something real quick. I promise it's not going to be long. But let me go ahead and type in whiteboard here. And I kind of want to introduce you to the idea of stacking skills. Okay? Stacking skills. This is going to make you much more successful long term. The number one reason why people go to Etsy is they believe that Etsy is going to provide them the products. Yes or no? The customers. Yes or no? We can all agree. Number one reason people decide to sell on Etsy as opposed to starting their own website is they believe that Etsy will provide the customers. So what you need to do is really what that means. If you believe that, that means you're lacking some sort of skill. It might be advertising. It might be website design, right? Maybe you know how to advertise. Maybe you feel comfortable putting that credit card in an advertising platform and bidding over keywords. Maybe you're good with that, but you don't know how to design a website. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe you don't know organic SEO, okay? Maybe you don't know social media marketing. Whatever it is, you have to start stacking these skills before then. I promise you, you're going to get to a point where it's just too late. It's too late to start all over again. There are people who are listening to this, maybe made $50,000 on Etsy, maybe made $500,000 on Etsy. But you have to understand this is not going to last forever. The good times are not going to last forever on this platform. And every platform, I'll be honest, every platform always has its negatives. But it becomes very serious when you have a massive platform like Etsy. In fact, Etsy is pretty much the largest platform outside of Amazon in this POD space, this print-on-demand space. And even if you don't do print-on-demand, even if you're just a regular Etsy seller, Etsy's massive, like insanely massive, you know? Keep an eye out for this, right? You want to start stacking skills. I'll give you an example. When I started my first business, the first skill I had to really stack or start was taking photos, buying a camera, learning how to take pictures of products. The second thing was editing the photos. The third thing was creating graphics, graphic design. When I started selling on Amazon, I had to learn how to create these different graphics. The next thing was copywriting. I had to learn how to create good product descriptions. I had to learn how to create bullet points, different keyword tags, started doing SEO, titling, tagging. Then I had to realize that I wasn't making any money on Amazon. I had to figure out a different way. So I built a website. Then from the website, I said, okay, I have to figure out how to gain traffic. So I started doing social media. I started doing SEO. After I started gaining traffic and getting sales, now I had all these skills, and I said, wait a minute, I know why I was failing on Amazon now. I didn't know how to do the promotion because I was breaking even every time I sold the product on Amazon because I was paying too much for ads. So I said, okay, let me go back and do some marketing for the Amazon FBA store. I did some marketing, got some more reviews. Next thing you know, I actually started generating a profit. But that took a while to get there. But once again, I had to stack the skills to get there. So once you stack some skills, you have to let me backtrack that. In order to stack your skills, it comes from realizing that you're going to have to start taking your talents in other avenues. That's just the way it is, right? I mean, don't be married to a specific platform and believe that this platform is going to be your savior forever. It's just not going to happen. Etsy might be good for a lot of people, and I'm not saying that you should even not do Etsy. Something I want everybody to understand is I think you should take full advantage of every platform that you're capable of. So if you have the free time to work on Redbubble, do it. If you have the free time to work on TeePublic, do it. Society6, do it. TeePublic, do it. Etsy, do it. Zazzle, do it. You know, whatever platform it is, if you have the free time to do so, do it. Take advantage of it. But in the back of your head, realize that these platforms won't exist forever. This internet business stuff won't exist forever. You know, your job won't exist forever. The job that you go to, you know, where you clock in every day, that won't exist forever. Everything has a timeline. And especially now more than ever, people are getting laid off from certain businesses, right? They're getting fired. Companies are downsizing. They're utilizing AI to replace human beings. It's happening, guys. The world is changing. We've never had, in the lives that we know about, we've never had a situation that is happening the way it is right now. Costs are rising. Job opportunities are decreasing. There's a lot of things going on behind the scenes, and technology is also increasing, which means it's going to get harder and harder. You have to be aware that literally the world is changing, and now you have more responsibility for yourself more than ever. A job is not going to be able to save you for everybody. It's not going to be able to save everybody. There might be some lucky people that might have a job and, you know, that they'll stick with that for the rest of their lives, and that will be the main thing, and that's great. Those people are blessed and lucky, I'm telling you. But for the rest of us, we got to figure our ways out. And relying on one platform is not the way. is definitely not the way. So if you guys want more content around different platforms, I highly recommend you visit my members area. It's a free members area to join. I got free different lessons. Go to poddegree.com. Literally just type it in. And we have so far 651 members. It's, as you can see, free access. If you click products here, we have free products as well as paid. But you could look and you could see we have the word free here. This is a free lesson. Free lesson on TeePublic, free lesson on how to install tools, free lesson on Redbubble, free lesson on, let's see, we got all kinds of free lessons. We also got paid lessons, right? So guys, we have the stuff out here. You guys can go through the lessons. I'll even shout out my website here, autopilotpassiveincome.com. This is a website where you guys can get access to some of my different courses, Redbubble course, TeePublic course, POD design course, Zazzle course. It's never too late to start, but check out the free stuff first. Before you go into the paid stuff, check out the free stuff. How to run a stock photography business, all this kind of stuff. You guys could do well in so many different areas, and one of the most important things, like I said, is diversification. You never want to rely on one platform. When I was making videos on Redbubble, and it was the only platform I was talking about, I was working on other things behind the scenes. I was testing different platforms. And also, might I add, print on demand is not even my main thing that I do. I set up websites. I have a portfolio of websites that I own that pay me on a daily basis. And so, once again, diversification is the key. I wouldn't rely only on one thing now. The world has just changed, and it's changing currently before our eyes. So I wish everybody the best. I know it's going to be tough out here for the next few years. It is going to be definitely tough out here. And it's only going to get harder. It's not going to get easier. One thing on its own, the AI is coming, guys. GPT is just a small example of it. Everybody's jobs are going to be eventually replaced. And by hopefully, during that period of time, people will be able to sustain themselves from a financial perspective. I don't think it's going to be an easy, smooth transition. I think a lot of people are going to struggle financially for a very long time before the government steps in and helps people out. But, the world is changing. CBDCs are coming. Everything is going to change. You're not going to have autonomy the way you have now, and you could see how things are changing. But I don't want to go too deep into things. This is, at the end of the day, print-on-demand type stuff, so I'll leave it where it may. I'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you guys for watching. Links will be in the description. See you soon. Peace out. Bye.